What's going on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and everyone that's tuned in? Welcome to another episode of All In with Nate with the mock draft. We are officially 1 week away from the draft. This time next week, I'll be getting prepped to do a draft show on here. But so you see a lot of me. We got a lot of teams to knock out in less than a week. But we're going to knock out the Eagles, the Vikings, and the Ravens today. So before we get started, again, like I said, make sure that you like, subscribe, share. You're going to be doing a lot of these shows coming up. Our next one's going to be Saturday. We got Pittsburgh, New Orleans, and New England coming up. But before we get on to Minnesota, let's go ahead and get a quick preview of the 2021 Minnesota Vikings.
Up next are the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings finished 8-9, but if you look close at their season last year, Minnesota lost several games by less than a touchdown. They only had one game that was not close, and that was a 37-10 loss at Green Bay Week 17. All their other losses came by 8 points or less. The ball bounced another way. This could be a different ball game for the Minnesota Vikings. Now entering the offseason, they look to build off of the talent they have. They got several solid pieces in Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and Dalvin Cook. Will they be looking to address the quarterback of Kirk Cousins? Will he be their starter long term? Will they be looking for another quarterback? Will they address this offensive line? And last but not least, are they going to upgrade the secondary around Patrick Peterson, who had a bounce-back campaign for the Minnesota Vikings last season? Now we will talk about their needs, do a live mock, and continue to discuss what the Minnesota Vikings will do in the 2022 NFL Draft.
As you saw, we're talking about the Minnesota Vikings first. Again, Minnesota's a trick team. They're not bad, but they're not great. So they need to really hit in several key positions in this NFL draft coming up. They got several picks to work with, including having pick number 14 to work with off the bat. Number one, the first thing they need to address is getting an interior offensive lineman, because they're coming into this season. They, of course, the last couple of years, Minnesota's been going heavy in the draft, trying to get linemen. They had Christian Darrisaw a year ago. They got a couple of other guys that are trying to revamp their offensive line. Garrett Bradbury, he's going to be gone. He was the third worst center in the league last year. They had three other linemen that was not that good for those guys last season. And for a team to have the firepower that the Vikings do as far as Jefferson, Thielen, and Cook, you got to have somebody to protect up front. And if Kirk Cousins is going to survive for any longer than he is, they got to address that offensive line. They finished 25th in the league against the pass and 13th against the run. They were pretty good. Of course, a lot of it has to do with Dalvin Cook being the solid running back that he is. But again, the Vikings really have to hit in this draft. There are options in the draft for the Vikings. They are going to go in and give them a chance. They're going to have O'Neal and Darrisaw on the outside. Bradbury is going to start still in the center position, but he'll be gone after the year probably. They also brought in Jesse Davis from Miami. So they have 4 of their 5 spots kind of locked up this year. But again, you don't go wrong by getting you a lineman in this draft if you're the Minnesota Vikings. So Minnesota needs to make that a priority in this draft. My next need for the Minnesota Vikings is wide receiver. Of course, Justin Jefferson is a bona fide superstar. If you've been watching the Vikings, you know Justin Jefferson is a beast. He was a beast at LSU. The guy lived up to all the hype he was in college. Adam Thielen's a solid wide receiver, but here goes the problem. Adam Thielen is 32 years old. And with Adam Thielen getting older, the Vikings really have to consider moving in the direction of getting them a younger threat on the opposite side of Justin Jefferson. Osborne was decent for them last year, but I don't consider Osborne as a starting number 2 receiver on the opposite side of Justin Jefferson, because if a lot of you are aware, Adam Thielen did restructure his contract for the Vikings, and they're probably going to move on from him after the season. So again, he's 32 years old. If he does not get cut, they're going to look into possibly fading him out of there. So This is the perfect draft for them to go ahead and get them a wide receiver. There's a lot of depth throughout the draft. They don't have to even get it at number 12, at number 14, but they can go ahead and address it if they need to. That is a key thing for the Vikings going forward. My other need for them is tight end. Irv Smith Jr. is coming off of a meniscus injury. He missed all of last season with it, and they only have blocking tight ends on the team. This is not a tight end heavy draft, but you can get some pieces later in the draft. You have to start considering looking into a future option because this is a show me year for Irv Smith Jr. So, of course, the Vikings are going to be looking to move on from him if he does not produce this season. So, tight end is a key need. They can use it. I would love to see them go after getting a tight end, like maybe even the guy from UCLA, to get him later in the draft. But you have to consider getting you a tight end at some point in this draft if you're them. Other need I have for them is corner. Patrick Peterson, the veteran that everyone remember out of LSU, he was a great guy in Arizona for many years. He had a great 2021 year for the Vikings, but he's 32. So you got to start looking to upgrade that position immediately. They do have Cameron Dantzler, the third-year guy, I think out of Mississippi State, had a good year. But again, they don't have any depth at corner. They also have Chandon Sullivan and Nate Hairston, but neither of those guys are a CB1. So you got to start considering getting you a corner at some point in the draft if you're the Minnesota Vikings. They need depth there bad. Last but not least, the other need I have for them is safety. I have them looking into Harrison Smith is going to be 30. He's 33 now. He turned 33 in February. He's under contract till 2025, but here comes the problem for Harrison Smith. Harrison Smith is 33 years old. You got to address getting you a safety at some point in this draft. To be honest with you guys, if Kyle Hamilton falls to them, I'm taking Kyle Hamilton if I'm the Minnesota Vikings. But if not, you go look for a Lewis Cine or somebody like that at the second or third round of the draft. So that's what you look into doing if you're the Minnesota Vikings. They really, really have to address that need in the entire secondary. Their whole secondary needs to be totally revamped at some point within the next year or two. They're on a new head coach, so they got to get that defense right. The mocks have the Vikings taking Kyle Hamilton out of – so Ryan Wilson out of CBS Sports have them taking Kyle Hamilton. Every other pundit has them taking Derek Stingley Jr. out of LSU. Very solid corner. He missed out on most of the combine workouts and everything, but he's a very solid corner. Walter Football has him taking Trent McDuffie, the corner out of Washington. He's been flying up the board as of recent, and so does USA Today, but they have them trading down with the Chicago Bears. They have them trading down to number 20 to take Trent McDuffie a couple spots later. So let me show you guys my mock for the Minnesota Vikings. Let me pull it up. Give me 1 second. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Let me get this situated. Hold up 1 second, guys. I'm getting the Vikings mock up here first. Okay, so let me take myself off the screen and I'm gonna go full screen with Minnesota. Okay, so this is if you ever want to do mock streams or mock drafts just to get yourself ready for the draft, it's 1 week later. It's 1 week from tonight. Go on to profootballfocus.com. You will definitely enjoy it. They have a solid mock draft. You'll definitely enjoy doing the mock. However, let's get to what I have picked here at number 12 for the Vikings. So, first thing first, I have them taking Trent McDuffie out of Washington. They need to get them a corner in the worst way possible. Second round, I have them taking Jaquan Brisker out of Penn State, as I mentioned earlier. With Harrison Smith on the verge of being out of there, you got to look into getting you a upgrade at safety. You need a younger guy to learn up under Harrison Smith, so when he takes the rim next season, he'll be straight. Third round, I have them taking Donovan West out of Arizona State. He's going to be Garrett Bradbury's replacement because Bradbury is going to be out the door. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Tyquan Thornton, I have them taking him in the 5th round, the speedster who killed the combine. I'm sure a lot of you probably remember that name. He ran a 4.28, technically ran a 4.21, but they decided to go with the 4.28. I also haven't taken another center again. I haven't taken Lindstrom because I think they would possibly look into moving him at guard at some point in his league career. So he could be another piece for that team. Also, the Pro Football Focus did not like this pick for me. I haven't taken Cameron Latu out of Alabama. At that point in the draft, they did not really have a lot of solid tight ends open. So I took the best tight end on the board, which was Latu. Also, in the 6th round, I haven't taken Jeffrey Gunner out of Coastal Carolina. Very underrated edge rusher. He's a solid talent. I think he's going to be decent in the NFL. I don't have him being a star, but he's going to be talented. And last but not least, I haven't taken Marquise Bell, the safety out of Florida A&M. He's a very, very good underrated safety. And I think that they could start flying up people's boards later on down the road. So this is what I have for the Minnesota Vikings. Picking, they gave me a B overall for the grade for the Minnesota Vikings. Okay, let's get them off the board. Now, let me go to the comments. What's going on, bro? What's up, Jay? All right. Up next on the board, we're going to go to the Baltimore Ravens. But before I start talking about the Ravens, let's get a quick preview of these guys.
Up next on the board are the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens had a ton of injuries that derailed their 2021 season. This team started 5-1, and after getting off to an 8-3 start, they lost the last 6 remaining games and completely missed the playoffs. A lot of it had to do with injuries. Lamar Jackson was down for a period of time. They had all of their starting running backs out for a period of time, and the team just happened to fall apart. Their biggest thing in 2022, outside of addressing a couple of needs that will be mentioned, is getting healthy. So we will get ready to discuss the Baltimore Ravens, what are their draft needs, and we will do a live mock of their top needs.
All right, the Baltimore Ravens. Excuse my voice earlier in that stream. I was kind of tired when I did that. So before I get into that, let's go to the comments. What's up, Tevin? He said, protect Lamar at all costs. Dark horse to win the division. I don't care about those Browns. They definitely will be back in contention this year. So I definitely look forward to see what they're going to do at their spot. But just before I get into the needs, Baltimore had a ton of injuries, as I mentioned. But despite all their injuries, they were actually pretty respectable on offense this year. They were number 3 in rushing still. They had a top 5 rushing attack. They averaged 145 yards a game, which is impressive for a team that had several injuries at the position. They were middle of the pack in passing. They were 233 yards passing the game. That's 13th in the league. They were 16th in scoring, which was 22.7 points per game. Unfortunately, their defense took a major collapse. They had the worst passing defense in the NFL. Yes, Baltimore did. Baltimore gave up the most passing yards, which was 4,742 passing yards. They gave up 278.9 a game. That's very, very bad for a team that's used to being a top passing defense, but injuries had a lot to do with their situation. So it's kind of hard to judge them on that. They also gave up 31 touchdown passes, 5th most in the league. And they had 9 total picks as a team, which was one of the worst in the league as well. They definitely will be looking to upgrade in several positions on defense. But before I get into that, what's up, bro? Kyrie said injuries hurt Baltimore. Yes, it did. It hurt them bad. It definitely hurt them bad. They were definitely one of the most banged up teams I've seen in a while. Jay Lee Jr., what's up, bro? He said they definitely need to move up and get some more corners and wide receivers. I agree with that as well. Now to their needs. First need, surprisingly, may be for their offensive line. The Ravens gave up 38 sacks in the 12 games that Lamar Jackson played last season. That's averaging 3 sacks a game. It's not good at all. For a mobile quarterback like a Lamar Jackson, they got to be able to protect that guy. You don't want him to be in a situation like Mike Vick was here in Atlanta, where they don't have any protection for him, and he fades out the league quick. Because also, Lamar's up for contract this upcoming season. So that's another thing to take into consideration if you're the Baltimore Ravens. Looking into that situation, they also didn't have any help because Bradley Bozeman left in free agency. That's bad for those guys. They needed a solid center. Ronnie Stanley, when healthy, very solid left tackle, but he's missed 26 games in the last 2 seasons. He's barely available. And outside of those 2 guys, there is no other talent on that offensive line for the Baltimore Ravens. You got a lot of rookies or guys who have not got a lot of playing time. So the Ravens going to have to consider getting them a lineman at some point in this draft. Even if it's not at number 14, they got to get him a lineman at some point in this draft. No ifs, ands, or buts about it if you're the Ravens. So that's their first need I have for them. Second, outside linebacker. They thought they had Zadarius Smith in the door, and then he flipped and went to Minnesota. So that hurt them big time. They only have Odafe Oweh, who came from Penn State, had 5 sacks in the regular season. And if you all know Baltimore's a 3-4 defense, they need all kind of edge rushing / linebackers out there on the field to produce. And also Tyus Bowser, who led the team in sacks last season, he tore his ACL at the end of the 2021 season. So he's coming off of an injury. This is a team that desperately needs to address getting them some pass rushing help and some linebackers. This is a deep class for it. So they're going to have to look into it throughout this class and throughout this draft. So again, they need to address that because their defense suffered big time last year because of their not having a lot of talent on that linebacker core. Next need for them is corner. Both. So for a lot of people that may not watch the Ravens in depth, you probably say, why do they need a corner? The Ravens have both Marlon Humphrey and they have Marcus Peters coming off of injuries. They both had injuries last year. Chris Westry, Anthony Everett, and Tavon Young all left in free agency. So you also got Jimmy Smith, who's probably going to retire. They got to get a corner in the draft. Getting a third guy, a slot guy, is so key in the NFL, especially for a team coming off having the worst secondary in the NFL last season. They got to address that need big time. So look for Baltimore to make that a priority. If not early in the draft, at some point throughout the draft, there's going to be decent depth at corner. My next need for them is a pass rusher. Again, like I said, the Ravens struggled to get after the quarterback. It's not their forte. They're usually one of the top pass rushing teams in football. But last season, they only had 34 sacks as a team. Again, as I mentioned, Tyus Bowser, who's going to be coming off of an injury, had 7. Oweh had 5 sacks. That's 12 of your 34 sacks. Yes, they brought back Calais Campbell. We're going to get to that in a moment. But again, they got to get some pressure on the quarterback. Let me go to the comments before I continue the thing. Katie, what's going on, bro? What is going on, bro? Happy birthday to you, by the way. Kyrie said the Ravens need a safety. They absolutely do need a safety in this draft at some point. Brill season, what's up, bro? He said, can Brown be a true number 1? I don't know. Bateman wasn't bad for them. Neither was Marquise Brown. However, they could really use another playmaker. I always say that for the Ravens. They could really use one more playmaker to set that offense to a whole nother level. But they were banged up last year, so maybe we'll get a chance to see what that group can do. My next need for the Ravens is an inside linebacker. When you look at the Baltimore Ravens, hold on, let me go to the comments one more time. What's going on, cousin? She said, do you think Walker's going to go first round? If you're talking about Trayvon Walker, he might be a top 3 pick, maybe even number 1. He's flying up the board. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens within the next week. Probably going to be top 3, maybe even higher. But to go to inside linebacker, as I said, the Ravens are very, very known for having solid inside linebacker play. However, the Ravens got Patrick Queen, and that's about it. You got to get somebody else in there that's going to produce. And you got several guys in this draft alone that's going to be able to produce. If you're the Baltimore Ravens, you got to look at it. You could maybe possibly spend a pick on a Nakobe Dean at 14. I think that'd be a reach, but you could possibly get him. Maybe a Christian Harris, maybe a Quay Walker, maybe a Brandon Smith. You got to look at getting you a linebacker in this draft if you're the Ravens. Patrick Queen is decent. He's not great. He's not good. He's not bad. He's just one of those guys that got potential. So we got to see what that guy can do. And last but not least for the Ravens is a defensive tackle. Calais Campbell came back, but he's 34 years old. They got to get them some defensive tackles, maybe even 2. And I would definitely look, if I'm the Ravens, at possibly Jordan Davis at 14. That could be their guy at 14. So the Baltimore Ravens definitely got to be looking long-term for they got to embrace the youth movement at this point. They got a lot of veterans on that team. They had Justin Houston on that team last season. But again, they have a lot of veterans. They need to really get younger. Let me go back to the comments. Because I said, I think over Hutchinson at this point. He might be a Lion at number 2, maybe Aiden Hutchinson. Eric J, what's up, bro? He said, I wouldn't be shocked if Travon Walker dropped. There's always one player that drops like crazy because of where he's projected to go in the mock drafts. I would hope it's not. I would love him to fall to Atlanta at number 8. But again, that could happen. Somebody's going to fall. It happens every year, like you said. But to go to the mock drafts, before I touch on my personal mock for the Ravens, CBS Sports, Ryan Wilson have them taking Jermaine Johnson at 14. Christian Prosser has them taking Ike Ekwonu at 14. That's going to address their offensive line. Josh Edwards have them taking George Karlaftis. Pete Prisco has them taking Trent McDuffie. Kyle Stackpole has them taking Jordan Davis out of UGA. Walter Football has them taking Charles Cross out of Mississippi State. And USA Today has them taking Jordan Davis as well. Let me go to the comments. Kyrie said that Walker will be the biggest bust. I'm not going to step that. JD, what's up, bro? He said, what's up, Nate Sarge? Just got home from work. It's all good, man. Welcome to the show. He said, stay away from Walker. We saw who he was for 3 years at UGA. To be honest, that's a good – I'm glad that you mentioned that, because as a Georgia fan, of course, you see I got the shirt on. The thing is, I don't really know what to say about Travon Walker. He was on a great defense. So I can understand he killed the combine and everything, but at the end of the day, I guess we're going to just see. But again, like you said, I'm not going to disagree with the fact that Travon Walker wasn't a star at UGA. He just was on a great defense. You're not going to shine when you got a Jordan Davis, a Devontae White, and a Kobe Dean, a Nolan Smith. That's the thing that happens with certain situations like him. So you're not going to really sit there and it's hard to sit here and go that he's going to be a bust. I don't know. I ain't going to step that one. Kyrie said, you run away from the facts. No, I'm not running away from the facts. He was not the guy at UGA. We had such a great defense that he was just one of the guys that was a part of the defense. Eric J said he wasn't bad at UGA, just overshadowed because of that defense. You're right. That's how I feel. I feel like he was productive enough in that scheme. I don't feel like he was going to be outstanding. That's how I feel. JD said, don't let the media overhype players. That is true, too. That can also happen as well. Elite talent is an overshadow. I don't disagree with that either. I'm not going to sit here and say that it won't happen. Let's go. Okay. He said, how can you not shine with Jordan Davis? When you got Devontae Wyatt, you got Nakobe Dean, you got Quay Walker, you got guys. Georgia was so stacked from top to bottom on that defense that he was, I don't know. I get what you're saying, but I think it's going to be a wait and see with him. Jay said, exactly. Asked me about Marlon Davis when he was playing with Derek. Oh, my God. You couldn't have told me that Marlon Davidson was not going to come to Atlanta and kill it with Grady Jarrett. But that was a total breakdown. Eric said, look, Hutchinson is overshadowing Ojabo. That's true, too. Aiden is a monster. Ojabo's going to be probably like a project guy. We'll see. Kyrie said he has crazy combine numbers, didn't translate to the field. I respect what you're saying. Like I said, he was not the most – everyone kept projecting him as a first rounder even before Georgia won a national title. He stayed in the top 20 for most mocks throughout the entire regular season. So him killing the combine just got his hype even higher. But of course, we'll see what happens next Thursday. We'll see what happens this season. Kyrie, all I'm going to say is look at the numbers. I respect that. I definitely respect that. But let me pull up the Ravens mock real quick. Let me go to the Ravens mock real quick. Then I'll come back to the comments. Let me go touch on that real quick. Give me a second. Okay, all right, here we go. Now, my mock for the Baltimore Ravens. At number 14, I have the Ravens taking Jordan Davis out of UGA. I think he is the prototypical Baltimore Raven type player. He would be an immediate upgrade there. Second round, I have him taking Nick Bonito out of Oklahoma. I think he's going to be a solid D end. He would fit them easily out the gate. Third round, I have him taking Jamari Sawyer out of UGA as well. I think he's going to be a very underrated tackle prospect from UGA that's going to do well in the NFL. Third round, I also have him taking Damari Mathis, very solid corner out of Pittsburgh. They need a corner bad, so that'll be a help right off the gate. Fourth round, I have him taking Brandon Smith out of Penn State. He actually fell on the boards, to be honest, as of recent. Also, fourth round, I have him taking Ledicus Smith, the guard out of Virginia Tech. Pro Football Focus did not like that pick, but I have them getting a guard at some point. Also, I have them taking Kobe Bryant out of Cincinnati. He was a decent corner, but of course, he wasn't going to outshine Sauce Gardner at all. So that's really where I stand with that. Fourth round, I also have them taking, as you can see, the Baltimore Ravens have 5 fourth-round picks. They can really demand the draft. They may even trade up at some point in this draft. So we'll see. Damon Clark out of LSU. LSU's always known for putting out solid linebacker talent. I won't be surprised if they put out another solid linebacker from LSU in Damon Clark. Fourth round, I had him taking Neil Farrell Jr., DN out of LSU as well. He's another solid piece. Sixth round, I have them taking Brian Robinson Jr. I have them just getting a running back because I feel that he's going to work well in Baltimore. He fits that Baltimore mold. I just think that will work out for them as well. But let me go to the comments before I come off of this. Katie Baylor said Jordan Davis got Baltimore written all over him. Yes, he do. He fits that type of team. Eric J has said that Brandon Smith is going to be a dog. I like Brandon Smith. I think he's very underrated under the mocks right now. And Kyrie said that Jordan Davis reminded him of Halloy. That's a good comparison. I like that comparison with him. I actually do like that comparison with him. And he said, I have to go back and look at, and I agree with Jordan Davis comp. He's just way faster. Yeah, Jordan Davis. I didn't even know Jordan Davis was that fast. And I watched the man for 4 seasons at UGA. So very, very, very elite prospect. But that's my take on the Baltimore Ravens. Last but not least, let's get to our first playoff team in the stream. And that's the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's get a preview of them.
And last but not least, we start to discuss our first playoff team on the stream, which is the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles got off to a rough start. It was 3-6 at week 9 after a loss to the Chargers. However, lightning struck for them. The Eagles went on a winning streak to get to 9-8 and make the playoffs as the number 7 seed, led by Jalen Hurts and that solid young group. However, their season came to an end with a 31-16 loss at Tampa Bay to end in the wild card. However, that is an improvement for the Philadelphia Eagles, who will enter this draft. Initially, they had 3 first-round picks, but a trade with the New Orleans Saints gave them a second round, gave them 2 first-round picks, but a ton of draft capital for this year and next year, with several draft picks coming up. Let's discuss what the Philadelphia Eagles' needs are, what's their top draft needs, what will they do in a mock draft, and let's get to talking about the 2022 Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, Philadelphia is on the board. Philadelphia is one of those teams, they got so much draft capital. I'm jealous of Philadelphia right now, by the way. I want some of that draft capital in Atlanta. But my number one need for the Philadelphia Eagles is defensive end. The Philadelphia Eagles had 29 sacks as a team last season. That was the second worst in the NFL. behind Atlanta. Atlanta was, of course, the worst team in the league, 18 sacks. And of that, only 10.5 came from edge rushers. So, again, they had guys who was producing, but not really edge rushers. Brandon Graham is turning 34 years old. So you really got to address the guys. Derek Barnett is not the guy, not like Derek Barnett. They're going to probably move on from that guy. And for the Eagles to be so deep at the draft, in the draft positions, they can really cash out in this draft if you're the Philadelphia Eagles. And they went and got Haason Reddick. He's going to fit them well. I like Haason Reddick. Haason Reddick was a really talented guy. He played well with Carolina last year, and I'm looking forward to see what they actually do at that position. So they brought back Derek Barnett on a 1-year deal, so he's going to get a show-me deal. But I think the Eagles definitely look into addressing that need at defensive end in this draft at some point. Let's see, Eric, he's an Eagles fan, said we're draft rich. Yes, you guys are. Kyrie brought up an interesting point. Eagles have the draft capital to go get Deebo Samuel. That would actually be a great fit for them because they are going to be looking for another key playmaker on that offense. Eric J also said that Reggie is going to go crazy and forget Barnett. Kyrie said, but like I told my homie, unless Super Bowl ready, stay away from Deebo because he's going to take at least. Yes, that is so true. You better be a decent player away from going to the Super Bowl to go get a Deebo Samuel. My second need for the Eagles is wide receiver. The Eagles definitely tried to get a difference maker. They tried to go after. They missed out on FanDuel Ridley. If a lot of folks don't know, Atlanta and Philly had a trade that was going to happen, but because someone wanted to do a parlay, he's no longer in the league in 2022. But that's a topic for another day. Christian Kirk and Allen Robinson and Robin Woods, thanks to Jacksonville, the market was crazy for wide receiver, so they missed out on those guys. But instead, they brought Zach Pascal in for a 1-year deal, just to see what he's going to do with Jalen Hurts. However, if you're the Eagles, this is the time to get you a playmaker at wide receiver. And it's not going to be a lot of wide receivers off the board where they're picking at, which is 15 and 18. So if you don't go get, the maybe only person might be gone is going to be Garrett Wilson, maybe. But even if he isn't, you got so much depth with Drake London, Treylon Burks, Chris Olave. There are so many guys who are on the board that you could possibly take if you're the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's go to the comments real quick. He said Deebo's only worth $25 million. Oh, that's still a lot. We can't afford him. Real season. He's another Eagles fan said, Odell, come on. That would be a good fit, though, if he gets healthy and gets everything like he needs to. Shane, what's up, bro? He said, can't wait to see Ridley's FanDuel commercial. What's that name? And Devon, what's going on, bro? What's going on, man? Miss you on the stream, man. We got to get back to it. But yeah, Philadelphia is definitely going to look at getting a wide receiver. Yes, they got Devontae Smith. He's productive. You still got Jalen Reagor, but of course, you got Quez Watkins is the guy who really came on last season for the Eagles. He had a couple big plays from last year. But of course, you can never have enough talent at wide receiver for the Eagles. My next need is cornerback for the Eagles. It's hard to figure out what they're going to do because the Eagles look like they have a glaring hole at the second spot at corner. Darius Slay's going to be your cornerback one for this year, but if you're the Eagles, upgrade at corner. And to me, this is the time where you really can go get you a solid guy. There's going to be a solid guy like a Trent McDuffie and a Derek Stingley, those guys right there. That's the type of guy that you need in Philadelphia. Let me go to the comments real quick. Byron's on, bro. He said as many times as the Eagles had a chance to draft a receiver, they get cold feet. I don't understand the Eagles. The Eagles always tend to miss out just by a step. I just knew Justin Jefferson was going to be an Eagle in 2020. Didn't do it. But again, they definitely got to figure this thing out. And Kyrie said that those boys need some defense in Philadelphia. Yes, they definitely do. But it brought back Avonte Maddox, so I don't really know what the Eagles are going to do. And, of course, they got a new coordinator. Jim Schwartz is not there anymore. So the Eagles definitely going to be looking to get them a solid corner. So that could be a potential need at the draft. And let's see. Kyrie said also the Eagles draft receivers, they just didn't pan out. That's true too. Okay. Another need for the Eagles is linebacker. Took them a while. They picked up Kazir White. That's really nobody. But they got Davian Taylor, Sean Bradley, and Patrick Johnson. However, none of those guys to me strike as a playmaker game changer. To me, if you're the Eagles, a guy like a Nakobe Dean, I'm hyping him up because I think Nakobe Dean is going to be a very solid player in the league. Then Nakobe Dean would fit well in Philadelphia. You need a sideline linebacker. A Christian Harris would be somebody that I will go after. But Philadelphia needs to address the linebacker position at some point in this draft. They need to really do that. Another thing that the Philadelphia Eagles need to address is a safety. At safety, they have Anthony Harris and Marcus Epps. That's not going to be a game changer. To me, go get you a Daxton Hill out of Michigan, a Lewis Seen out of UGA, Jaquan Brisker. I really, really need to see those guys produce. That's what I want to see. They need to get some help at safety. Philadelphia has so much capital, they can really, really ball out and get a lot of talent out of this draft here. They can really revamp that defense this year and next year because I don't know what New Orleans was thinking, but if you're the Eagles, you're not mad at them. Thank you, New Orleans, for being dumb. We'll talk about them next stream. Anyways, last but not least, I got to looking at a potential defensive tackle. Fletcher Cox came back, but Fletcher Cox is getting older. You need to address that position. But they also got Jason Hargrove and Javon Hargrove and Milton Williams. So they can have some talent there at defensive tackle. So Philadelphia really needs to look into potentially upgrading there. So let me go to the comments real quick. Eric says, nah, because your watch's going to be a beast, bro. Mark Warrior, go watch his film. I've seen tape on him. So he may fit better. It could be new team, new situation. So that could be the case. Eric J said he has 144 tackles last year with 80 solo. He's a big safety in the box. Okay. We'll give him a chance. We'll see what happens. But let's go to my mock for the Eagles. Give me a second and pull it up. Again, Philadelphia, I want some of that draft capital. Please give it some to Atlanta, man. We need it. Okay, let's go. My final mock of the day. Let's go to Philadelphia. All right. First, I have them taking George Karlaftis out of Purdue. That's an edge rusher. Immediately upgrades that position if you're Philadelphia. I have them taking Chris Olave at 18. You pair him up with Devontae Smith. You got Quez Watkins still there. You still got a young Jalen Reagor. They're going to have a lot of fun in Philadelphia with that type of passing, with those passing options. Second round, I have taken Roger McCreary out of Auburn. He's a very slept-on corner that came out of Auburn. I thought at one point it was going to be a first-rounder, but things changed. But he's a very solid guy. I think he's going to be a bonus for any team that pick him up. Third round, I have taken Brian Asamoah out of Oklahoma. You add to the position if you are the Eagles. Because now, with a Kazir White, you're going to definitely get a chance to have another playmaker. Also, third round, I have taken Dane Belton out of Iowa to get him a safety that they can upgrade at immediately in Philadelphia. Fourth round, I have taken Kalon Barnes. Very, very solid playmaker out of Baylor. That's another corner to go on the opposite side of McCreary and Slay. He could absolutely upgrade that position. Fifth round, I had him taking Thomas Booker out of Stanford just to get him a piece, just to add a young piece to that defensive line. Fifth round, also had him taking Yusuf Corker. I actually didn't make this pick. I think I just clicked it too quick. My bad, guys. Fifth round, also have him taking Joshua Eziudu. If I mess his name up, forgive me. Out of North Carolina. They also are going to get older at that position. So they're definitely going to be looking to get some pieces in there on that offensive line. And last but not least, I have them taking Brad Hawkins out of Michigan. Very solid safety. I think that'll be a steal in the 7th round. Let me go to the comments. Kyrie said, I'm growing on that wide receiver from North Dakota State. He was killing the boys down there at the Senior Bowl. I love Christian Watson. I think he's actually flying up the board. I think he's been getting late first round, early second round projections. So that's going to be fun to watch too. And Kyrie said, yeah, Christian Watson. Yeah, that's him. So let's see what Pro Football Focus gave me. They gave me a B+. So, hey, pretty good draft. Eagle fans, I hope you would like my mock for you guys. That would immediately get you guys a lot of depth. Let's see. Eric said, okay, I wouldn't mind GK and Olave in the first round. And Kalon Barnes, I would love it. Yeah, I appreciate that. Hey, I want to make sure that Eagle fans love it more than anybody else. So, yeah, that is my mock for Philadelphia. And, all right, back to the stream. Okay, guys, that's going to be the 3 teams I covered today. Hope you guys have really enjoyed the show. Saturday, I will be covering the New Orleans Saints, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the New England Patriots. So if you're fans of any of those teams, you want to get me their needs. Byron, I don't know if you're still watching the stream. I did get your mock, and I will be showing it on the stream on Saturday. So definitely, if you're a fan of a team and you want to show me the stream that maybe you want to talk about your team, go right on ahead. Because this time next week, we'll be on here talking about the draft. And I'm probably going to have some of you chime in like I did last year, just to give me your intake on the team and on your pick that you made. So again, this has been another episode of All In with Nate. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Saturday, we're back at it. We got a lot of teams to knock out in a week. So you'll see a lot of me over the last week. So guys, have a good Thursday, and let's watch some NBA playoffs. It's been fun. You guys have a good night.